Hi, FemCity girls. I am Violette Ayala, the founder of FemCity, and today you're joining us for a special class. We are gearing up for summer. I have asked one of our experts from FemCity and also a FemCity global member, Erin Tarr. She's actually going to talk to us today about how to find a summer job, a safe summer job as well. And she is the perfect teacher for this conversation, this topic, this class. She is actually a confidence coach for girls with preteen, teen, and post-teen girls. And her energy is always amazing and infectious. And I know we're going to learn a lot today. So, Erin, anything that you want to add to what I just shared?
Yeah, I just adore hanging out with teen and tween girls. And so if you're here, like, yay, congratulations, you're worthy, you're awesome, and welcome. I hope that you get something awesome from this conversation.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. All right. So this class came up because we had so many FemCity girls that were starting to look for jobs and didn't really know which way to start. So we're going to have this class. And then we also have a class coming up on how to create your first resume. So we have that coming up as well with Delia Russo from our FemCity Global Program as well. But today we're going to talk only about how to take on a summer job. And before we even get started, Erin had a couple of things to think about before you start moving forward into finding that job. So what were the things that girls need to think about before they start moving forward?
The biggest and best and first question is, why do I want to look for a job? So the most common answer is because I want money, right? I want to be able to do things that I want. I'm saving for something, or I just want to have, cash or what have you, which is a great reason. Like, I am not mad about that at all. Some people, however, come because, well, my parents want me to get a job and I don't really want a job. That's not the best reason to get a job. But also, like, think about, what are your goals? So if your parents want you to get a job, why do they want you to get a job? What is their goal? And talk to them about that. Are they wanting you to build responsibility? Are they wanting you to save for something to contribute to your education or something else? Because a job is a great idea. I am in love with the idea of people getting jobs and starting to build that sense of what it's like to work with a team, what it's like to have to show up on time, to have a boss, to understand different industries, to know what you like and what you don't like. It's a great time to try those things out. But your goals might be different. Maybe you should be volunteering more so that you can get some experiences that wouldn't normally translate into a part-time job. Or maybe you need to be involved in some extracurricular activities that you have more time to devote to during the summer because you're hoping to get a rowing scholarship or something, and you need to be working hard at that. Or perhaps you need to start an entrepreneurial endeavor. Violet and I are both huge fans of the entrepreneurial path. And if you don't need money for a specific reason, an entrepreneurial endeavor at this stage in your life is amazing because you might make a lot of money, or you might just learn a lot of lessons over the summer. And so that's also a good option. So absolutely, if you want to get a job, I fully endorse that, but definitely ask yourself some of those questions and have those conversations with the adults in your life that are encouraging you to get a job as well.
I love that. So I'm taking notes. If you wondered where I went to go take get my notebook. I always have to have my notebook handy. I love that those tips to get started because you're right. There's so many, get a job. Like, why? Like, what? So I was thinking as I was listening to Erin, my first job, I was 13 years old and I worked at a summer camp, the summer camp of the school that I went to during the year.
Yeah.
I worked during the summer, and I obviously 13 years old, you can't work.
Right.
But they paid me $300 and I worked the entire summer. I worked from, I think, 8 o'clock until 5 o'clock, maybe even 6 o'clock. And it was great because what it was is I think my parents were like, she needs to stay busy, but she's too little to go to camp.
Right.
So we just needed to do something. And it did. It taught me how to show up, how to go when you don't feel like going, how to have a boss. Because at the end of the day, even if you are an entrepreneur, you still have a boss because you have clients. And I always think, your clients are kind of your boss. You're going to kind of want to try to make them happy. So I love that you shared that, because that at the end of the day, if it's just responsibility, if it's just getting into the mode of like, having something to fill your time so that you're not getting into trouble, I totally get that. And then I love that you mentioned internship. I can't remember if it was in the green room or right now.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't remember either. But I love that you mentioned internships because sometimes it's not the money so much that we need, is more the experience. If you are a sophomore, junior, or senior in college and high school, The internships are really going to help you to navigate that college application. I know for my daughter, my middle child daughter, my 22-year-old, I truly believe the reason why she got into the program she got into at NYU was because she interned for our marketing team. It's Inkberries. She interned for them for 2 summers.
Wow.
And so she had experience already when it came to design and working for an agency. So I think that really helped her to get in. So sometimes, like Erin was saying, sometimes it's not all about the money. Sometimes it's just responsibility, getting that leadership. And then sometimes it's also about thinking about your long-term goal and what you can do today so that you can fit into that application wherever you want to go. If you even want to go to college, how do you go ahead and use that experience to set yourself up for the future? And last but not least, I was going to say my 16-year-old wanted to work this summer because she did want to make her own money to spend wherever she wanted to spend. And at the end of the day, she realizes she doesn't have time. She doesn't have time. And so, I'm just sharing that in case you are out there and you're realizing maybe you've taken on, like my daughter's training still for crew. She just doesn't have time. She only has Sundays off. And so at the end of the day, does it make sense to get a job only on Sundays for a month? Not really. So coming to terms with that is okay also, that maybe it's not the summer for you to get a job, and that's okay too.
Right.
And I love the entrepreneurial route as well. I mean, I love that, setting yourself up, because that also helps for college applications as well. And it helps to create something for your future. You never know. I know so many young girls that started businesses in high school and then did that when they became adults.
Yeah.
Continue to do that. So love that. All right. So tips that you have. Let's assume that they want to make money, they want to move forward, they don't know how to find a job. What advice would you give them?
So I came up with an acronym because I love acronyms. So JOB, job. How do we get a job? And the J stands for just ask. Ask everyone you know. Who do you know that's hiring? What types of jobs are they hiring for? What are the qualifications and requirements that are needed? You are surrounded by people. And I know it can be a little intimidating to talk to your parents, friends, or your neighbors, or what have you. But showing that you are able to start that conversation is a step in the right direction for maturity, because you can definitely have your parents ask around for you. That's not allowed. But I would say having that ability to also do it yourself. And sometimes it's just as easy as writing an email and saying, here is how I know who you are. What do you know that's going on, that I might be eligible for, or that type of thing. So sometimes you don't even have to do it face to face, but the more you can practice and flex those bravery muscles, the better you're going to be down the road. So using just the idea of looking for a job as an opportunity to grow, as an opportunity to expand your horizons is a great idea. So just start asking, because you will be surprised how many things, especially in this economy right now, people are looking for people. Like, you will be able to find a job for sure. So the J is for just ask. The O is for have an optimistic attitude. This is in regards to both looking as well as when you start a position, because our mindset is everything. I could, at this stage in my life, as a middle-aged person, I could go wait tables. I could go be a secretary. I could go flip burgers at McDonald's. I could go babysit. I could even do manual labor, which I have no interest in doing whatsoever and never have. But if I needed to, I could do any of those things. And I would have an optimistic attitude, because I would understand my why that we talked about previously. Why am I going to do this? How long, I probably have a time frame on it. Like, if you're only doing it for the summer, you can pretty much do anything for a summer to accomplish your goals. So retain that optimistic attitude. You will find a job. You will have fun doing it because you've already decided to do that. And you will learn something from it, which is really, ultimately, I think, the goal of every position that we take and every new adventure that we're trying. So just ask, optimistic attitude. And B is the be prepared. The B in job is be prepared. So what do you need to already know and have prepared so that someone wants to hire you? I have some clients, God bless them, that say they want jobs. And yet when I ask them about their schedule, they're like, I don't know, my mom takes care of my schedule. Well, that's not going to fly when you're out in the real world trying to figure out, when can I work? When can I not work? So you need to start getting on top of, what does my schedule look like? What passions and experiences and what do I bring to the table? Like know that ahead of time. So Deli is going to talk about that with the resume, which you may be thinking, I'm 16, I don't have but she's going to help you to figure out what are the things that you need to put on that. How do you emotionally, mentally, and physically prepare to get a good night's sleep, to make sure that you're healthy, to make sure that your alarms. I don't know how many. I used to work at a school and I employed a lot of high school and college students in summer and after school programs. And how many times they're like, I overslept, my alarm didn't go off. I'm like, not a good enough excuse anymore, friends. So get ready to just level up a little. We're not asking you to abandon your childhood. We still want you to have fun. We want you to love it. And I hope that whoever employs you also feels that way, but you also have to level up a little bit maturity wise. So start being prepared for what will be expected of you because it is a different world. I remember getting my first professional job and my boss like having some rough conversations with me because I had to level up from my part-time mentality to my full-time, like you're getting a salary mentality. And it was a different world. And you're leveling up from, high school and chores around the house to real responsibilities. So that's part of it as well. So
I love that. I love it. All right. So I took notes. I love that you mentioned optimistic, not only in the application process, but also when you show up. To have that, because once you get the job, you got to keep the job. Like you can't just be like happy and like prepared at the application process or the interview process and you show up and it's like, you're like, complaining, so being optimistic throughout so you can hold that job because they will let you go. Like, if you're don't show up one day or you're late, I mean, they'll let you go. So I love that you said that optimistic and then being prepared.
Keep you and you finish the whole summer, but it's a bad experience. What have you learned? Because one of the great things about summer jobs is getting recommendations for whatever's coming next. But if you've kind of been a cranky pants, or as Violet likes to say, poopy pants, your recommendations aren't going to look so hot.
Yeah. And I love, by the way, that you said just ask, because I know that I was babysitting. I think it was like 7th or 8th grade when I started babysitting. So you can ask also, hey, I babysit. You can get your American Red Cross. I think there's American Red Cross baby certification that you can get, babysitting certification, not babysitting certification, and dog sitting also. I know my girls have dog sat for our neighbors as well. So that's how you start developing your book of business. You start getting out there, but doing the ask, it doesn't have to be like, hey, can I babysit your child? Or can I, hey, did you know that I love dogs and I love babysitting, or I love dog sitting? That's another great way. And it's like, Erin, I love that you said it. It's good practice, because when you become an adult, you're going to have those uncomfortable moments where you're asking for either more money or to take time off, or can I redo that test, or can I do extra credit? Like that skill is going to come in really handy. To be uncomfortable and asking for yourself is a really great skill to take into the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think if I'm being honest, so I have a 14-year-old and her dad and I actually just had this conversation the other day about should she be getting a job yet? And I was like, well, I didn't have a job when I was 14, but I do feel like I started to do some things. I definitely got one by the time I was 16. How does this work? And that's what we really, really started to talk about is what are the benefits of having a job and what are the objectives, and who, as parents, if there's any parents watching this, who are we growing our children to be and what kind of qualities do we want them to possess? And how is, them getting a job furthering that goal? And so we want to think about that for ourselves as teens. I didn't think about that maybe as much as I should have, but as parents, we can start to have those conversations. And as teens, we can be thinking about those things, really reflect on what do we want and what's going to help us get there? Even if it doesn't seem like it will, there's a lot of skills that we're learning that we don't learn in school when we have jobs.
Yep. Love that. Love it. All right. To Erin, thank you so much for all of these tips. For those that want to connect with you and learn more about the work that you're doing in this world, how can they find you?
Instagram is the fastest way to find me. If they let me post today, they weren't letting me post today, but Erin Tarr Speaks is my handle. So I would love to chat with you in the private messages there if there's any way that I can be of service or encourage you. So yeah.
Awesome. I love it. I don't know what's going on Instagram. Yeah, it's so funny. I manage my personal, and then FemCity. I can add music on the reel on my personal, but I can't add music on a reel on the FemCity one. And FemCity has more followers. Like, it's just so weird. Like, you would say, oh, maybe one smaller, but no, like, so I don't know what's up with Instagram.
And I think they're changing algorithms and all these things. And I asked my daughter, because I'm like, what is going on with yours? And she's like, mine's fine. I'm like, what?
You're like, what? That's not what I wanted. Anyways, Erin, thank you so much. And for those that are watching, keep in touch with us. Let us know what jobs you got or what you decided to do. We'd love to cheer you on and hear your story and see how we can support you further. We wish you a great rest of the day. Mwah! Bye, Erin.
Hi, guys.